Hello, TV family. Welcome back to Ted and Vero TV. My name is Veronica, and this is my incredible husband.
Hi, I'm Ted.
Thank you guys so much for joining us on another episode of Ted and Vero TV. On today's episode, we want to talk about a topic that not a lot of people talk about, and that is on the subject of should you still be talking to your ex even after marriage? Let me rephrase that. Should you still be talking to someone you dated even after you are married? Let's dive into that.
Well, I'll just hit the nail right on the head and say that it is my humble opinion that you should absolutely not be talking to your ex after you're married or after you've entered into another serious relationship that is headed toward marriage. A lot of people want to go ahead and act like, oh, we're just friends. Why can't we just be friends? Well, we're not saying that you can't be cordial to your ex should you ever have need to talk to them. For instance, if you had children with your ex, it's going to be unavoidable at some point or other that you're going to have to communicate with your ex, but delegate it to it being business-minded only for the sake of the children. This isn't an opportunity to rekindle old memories or to sit down and have a cup of coffee with your ex. Oh, it's about the kids. If it doesn't have to do with I'm picking up the kids at such and such a time at this location so that you can coordinate the kids having time with both parents, then there's really no reason to be talking to your ex. But that's a side point. The main thing we want to focus on is a less complicated scenario where you dated somebody else and now you're in a new relationship or a marriage, and should you continue to talk to this person that you used to be romantically involved in? And again, my advice straight out of the gate is no.
And I think you save yourself the headache by cutting all types of communications if there are no children involved, if there are no business involved. So every scenario is different. Everyone's situation is different. Some people will have to deal with their ex still because let's say they established a business together, and even after you are not together, you can avoid each other. I've met people in my line of work that will tell me that, hey, I'm looking for a place to live. I'm no longer with my ex, but we still have a business together, and they do have kids together as well. So they have to find a way to be in communication for the sake of the children, because you don't want their children to feel like their parents are not getting along, and it takes a toll on them. So you want to try and avoid that. But when it comes to communication in a way where, oh honey, what are you wearing, or calling each other pet names like you used to do, try to avoid that, especially if you are married and you are in a new relationship. It doesn't do anybody any good. I've heard people say that, oh, once I'm in your life forever. No, if there is nothing that is keeping us together in the relationship that we had, then you are not in my life forever. Once we are done with the relationship, we are done. And it took me a long time to learn this. Before, whenever a relationship ended, I felt like this connection with the person. I felt like I needed some type of closure, and because I wasn't getting the closure, I needed them to be still a part of my life. And so either I was holding on to their family members, I was holding on to something that they gave me, or I was holding on to they themselves. I thank God for the deliverance. I say deliverance because it was truly deliverance that took place. Once that deliverance took place, I was like, you know what? I no longer need to have any of you in my life, because I was doing myself an injustice. Obviously, the relationship didn't work because there was toxicity. And so why do I want to still have that toxicity around me? Let me just do myself this good thing by completely walking away, deleting your number off my phone, removing you off my social media, of every aspect of my life. It doesn't mean that I'm bitter. It just means that I'm doing myself something good by keeping my sanity, by not allowing whatever broke us apart to still affect me, because we are human, and the heart sometimes will want to reserve anger, will want to reserve pain, and I need to avoid that. And in order for me to avoid that, I'll rather delete your number, remove you on my social media. I would remove everything out of my life that will prevent me from seeing you or seeing anything that you are doing. It means that I have moved on, and I'm in a place in my life where there is joy and there is peace. And in order for me to avoid having you in that space, I am removing you just for respect of the person I'm also with. and we'll continue on that.
That is definitely the segue, is in
Mhm.
respect for the person that you're with.
Yeah.
First of all, as my wife said, this is important for you, yourself. You need to
Mhm.
be your strongest, best self in
Yeah.
order for your marriage to be its healthiest self.
Mhm.
But after that, it's about your loyalty to your spouse.
Yeah.
It's about your commitment to your spouse.
Mhm.
Your ex is in the past, and that's where they should stay.
Mhm.
Some people want to kind of play this fence line where they can't let go. And so, well, I just want to have them on my friends list on my social media. Every once in a while, we'll say hi. But if you're communicating, you're really not being fair to your present romantic interest.
Mhm.
You're clouding the clarity
Mhm.
that you could be having one to another. You need to feel exclusively special
Yeah.
in this new relationship.
Mhm.
No lingering past residue going on in any of that. It just simply isn't fair.
Yeah, I want to remind you that you broke up with that person or vice versa
For
for
a
a reason. Don't keep holding on to something that is
Yeah.
gone. You know what I mean? It's for a reason that you broke up with the person. And I know this is for those who are married. And even if you are not married or in any other relationship, once you have broken up with somebody, let's say it again.
Cut
It's
it
for a
loose.
reason.
Yes.
Let it go completely.
Yep, it's for a reason.
Don't do yourself that injustice by keeping them in your life.
Uh-huh.
You are delaying the possibility of someone else coming into your life, first of all, and you are holding on to the past, which a lot of us do. Oh, Lord knows I am one to hold on to the past. When relationship will end, I'm like, why did you break up with me? No, I'm not letting you go. Oh my goodness. Sometimes I sit down and I think about the past mistakes, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm too fabulous for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, making
So,
peace with the
making
past.
peace with the past, and I think about it, and I'm like, are you serious? Did I waste that? I wasted a whole year asking you why you broke up with me. Why did I do that? Like, why?
Yeah.
And so, if there are no children involved, if there are no business involved, then your S is your S.
Yeah. And frankly, if it is about business, I would even suggest to reconsider the opportunities that you have in this life.
Mhm.
Maybe you need to remain in this business. I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm just saying reevaluate.
Yeah.
The non-negotiable situation is if you have children with the ex.
Yeah.
But when it comes to a business, you may want to say, hey, you know, I have this new opportunity
Mhm.
with my spouse now.
Yeah.
And yes, I was in business at one point or other with this ex, but for the sake of moving on, it could be a possibility, and
Yeah.
it might be for the betterment and strength of the marriage.
Yeah.
So just be loyal one to another, let go of the past,
Mhm.
be mature. Don't, teenagers, sit there and wallow in what might have been, or woe is me, or I got hurt, or maybe I was unfair to my ex and I actually feel guilty about how I treated my ex.
Mhm.
Whatever it is, come into an agreement with God, who says, I'm going to make everything new in your life,
Mm.
in Him. If you really trust God, if you really trust His will for your life, and if you really trust the destiny that you are on in marriage, because once that commitment has been made, you are in a covenant relationship that is
Mhm.
God ordained.
Mhm.
Hang on to that with faith, with trust, and with exuberance, and
Amen.
go forward. I mean, get on that horse and ride into the sunset with your spouse and leave the past in the dust. Better things are ahead, not behind.
Amen. Amen to that. And I couldn't agree more. And like my husband said, be very honest with your spouse. If you are communicating with your ex for one reason or the other, please make sure you communicate with your current partner.
Let them know.
Let them know, hey, listen, I reached out to my ex because I needed this person's information and I didn't have it. Or tell your spouse before you even make that move.
Yeah.
If they are uncomfortable with it, then do not do it. Because calling that person, be like, hey, let's say, okay, I needed a mutual friend contact, okay, and I didn't have that. And I needed to reach out to this person to tell him, give me this person's number. The minute I pick up the phone and I'm calling this person, I'm acknowledging his presence into my new space. I'm acknowledging his energy into my new space. And once you do that, you are telling him you are welcome. Do whatever you want to do. And that is very, very, very tricky.
Yeah.
Because the enemy can use that to start saying, look at this, look at what he gave you, look at what she did for you. Now, does this person that you are with do that? And then your mind start going places.
Playing
your
tricks.
Mind, playing tricks
Mhm.
on you. You know what I mean?
Learning to accept the way things are
Mm.
is a mark of maturity.
Yeah. On this note, we would like to thank you again so much for joining us on another episode of Tell Vero TV. Don't forget to like and to subscribe. Subscribe. Have a good day, everyone.
We'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.